Does independent choice healthcare actually exist? 5 types of identity theft to avoid, and why you must fail in this week's Keys to Riches financial philosophy. All this coming up on today's episode of Unlock Your Wealth Today. Your life fully invested. Welcome to Unlock Your Wealth Today, your life fully invested. I'm your purveyor of prosperity and host, Heather Wagenhals, and we have an incredible show lined up for you today. We're going to talk about the 5 types of identity theft you need to be aware of so you can avoid them. We're also going to bring you this week's key in the Keys to Riches financial philosophy, and your teaser, well, why I want you to fail. And finally, we're going to wrap things up with an incredible interview from Freedom Fest with Jeff Kanter. He's the co-founder of Health Excellence Plus. And you know what? There actually is independent choice in healthcare, and we're going to learn all about that on today's episode. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Unlock Your Wealth Today. Welcome back to Unlock Your Wealth Today, your life fully invested. I'm Heather Wagenhals. You know, you don't have enough to worry about as it is between your job, your community commitments, your familial commitments. Well, let's just lump identity theft and all that it brings to the table that you have to worry about as well. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the 5 types of identity theft that you need to be aware of. And as we discuss those, ways that you can protect yourself. So let's kind of run through the list, shall we? So we've got financial, criminal, personal, cloning, and child ID theft. Those are the 5 main categories that most identity theft occurs under. The first one seems the most damaging, and that's financial identity theft. This is where people steal your money, your cards, your specifically credit. They apply for loans with your quality of credit, and they can also commit insurance fraud, whether they actively use it or use it to rip off insurance companies. In any case, this falls under the financial identity theft category. When we talk about financial identity theft, what we want to do is be focusing on how much of this information are we just bleeding out there. Do we answer any random call from a financial institution, or are we actually paying attention to who's asking us for what information, and are we verifying who we're speaking to beforehand? By the way, all of these resources are available on my website at moneycreditandyou.com, and you can download the free ebook on the 5 types of identity theft and what you can do to protect yourself. The next one is criminal identity theft, and this one I think of as when we were kids, and if you got caught red-handed doing something but said you were somebody else, like your best friend around the block who had nothing to do with the trouble you're causing. That's what criminal identity theft is. That's if I go on a spree and commit a ton of crimes and just happen to be caught, and then, well, I don't say that I'm Heather Wagenhals, but I use your name instead. And that would be criminal identity theft. We roll around, I mean, there's not much you could do about that type of identity theft, but always be checking your criminal record history, your personal credit history, any landlord-tenant history that may be out there. And there are different types of credit reporting agencies for different types of things. So be sure to be checking those. And again, we have a schedule for you to do all of that on our website at moneycreditandyou.com. The next type of identity theft is personal identity theft. So this is where people use your information to qualify for products and services. So this is where I'm not stealing your money, but I'm using your credit, for example, to apply for loans so I can go obtain those types of things. And the way to be vigilant about that, well, my favorite thing to do with credit is nothing at all, meaning freeze it. As in, do not allow any access whatsoever. And I always hear the objection, oh, but I have to apply for credit. Well, yes, and when you do, go ahead and unfreeze your credit. I do a lot of investing. I'm constantly applying for mortgages and other lines of credit for my different businesses. That doesn't stop me from keeping my credit frozen. It just means that I have to be planned and strategic about it. But the bonus is that you're not applying for frivolous credit every time you go to a cash register and they say, hey, would you like to get 15% off your purchase today by applying for a red card? So there's a bonus in having your credit frozen because it keeps you from impulse credit applications. And, finally, as we sum this up, we've got two more left. Cloning is not just when they use your information or they pretend to be you, like in criminal identity theft. This is where they actually become you, whether they're hiding out from somebody else or they just want a fresh start and they just decided to become you instead. Well, guess what? That's why we have to be checking our credit regularly. Again, visit the website at moneycreditandYou.com so you can follow along with the information and find out how you can protect yourself and the schedule in with which you need to be verifying your own personal data and make sure that you are the only one using it. And the final type of identity theft seems like it wouldn't be a big deal, but it can be some of the most damaging because it can occur for such an extended period of time. And this is child identity theft. This is a critical piece for your credit freeze plan as well. As you're thinking about your financial fire escape plan, which we talk about in this week's key in our Keys to Riches financial philosophy, we need to be thinking about how do we protect our child's identity too, because they don't technically start applying for credit until they're 18 years of age. This is something that we never even really concern ourselves with. Yet everywhere we go, we're handing out their social security number, whether it's the school or the doctor or the dentist or some sort of camp or extracurricular activity. Everybody seems to want to track you by your social security number. Well, guess what? There's only one place that needs your social security number ever, and that would be if you're applying for government benefits. If you're not applying for government benefits, you don't need to be including it on any application, including your child's. And as we talk about our financial fire escape plan, we want to focus on including our children. And any social security numbers you have for your offspring, you need to include in your credit review plan and your credit freeze plan as well. Again, these resources are available at moneycreditandYou.com. Coming up, we have the Keys to Riches in our financial philosophy, our next key. And how about hoping for the best? But that's not enough. We're going to learn what this week's key means in Hope for the Best, Plan for the Worst, coming up right after this. Welcome back to Unlock Your Wealth today. I'm Heather Wagenhals, and we are now at the Keys to Riches. I threw a bone out there earlier and I said, I want you to fail. You're like, what? What does that mean? Well, we're going to talk about that on this segment. So the Keys to Riches, for those of you joining us for the first time, is a baker's dozen of a financial philosophy I created that teaches you how to think like the rich and be in control of your own money. It also gives you specific techniques to create or fix your credit, eliminate debt, save and invest, all while transforming your current financial habits into healthy money management skills. And we do this one key at a time, 1 week at a time here on Unlock Your Wealth today. And if you would like the full key in its entirety, all you have to do is participate in our live broadcast on Unlock Your Wealth Live at our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Unlock Your Wealth Radio. So you can join us and be a part of the show. Ask questions. It's live Q&A. You can ask me anything, and I'll be happy to answer it when it comes to personal finance and your personal and professional success. So this week's key is all about hope for the best, plan for the worst. And the reason why I structured this key is you hear so many people saying, failure is not an option, and focus on what you want, not what you don't want. However, because this is a biology-based approach to success on this show, that's really not how we work in reality. And the way our brain recognizes and processes information means that, yes, we would like to plan for that success. We want to achieve that hope of the best. However, we're not built that way. We're actually built to avoid pain in this moment first before we seek out pleasure. So while it's nice and idyllic to have that pursuit of the best end of success, we also need to be realistic, optimistic and realistic. And we need to plan for the worst also, because failure isn't the opposite of success. And so many people get hung up in failure and being afraid of failing. But guess what? If you are at plan A and you're a salesperson and you ask somebody to buy your product or service, right now you're at no. So unless they say yes, nothing's changed. So if you get a no, did you fail? No, you didn't lose anything. You only have something to gain. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. And that's why I want you to fail, because winning, while it feels good, doesn't give us any information for the future. We become one-trick ponies, and then all of a sudden one day that one trick doesn't work, and we're going to have to figure out a new strategy on how to get there. And that's what failure gives us as a gift. So in this week's key, we learn about our financial fire escape plan. Just like you need to have a fire escape plan anywhere you are, whether you're at work, at a hotel, or at home. And it's actually the law in many hotels. You find fire escape plans posted on the back of your door, but how many of you actually take a moment and look at them? That's what we need to be paying attention to. If we don't even have a home fire escape plan for our own life, is it likely that we have a financial fire escape plan too? So visit the website at facebook.com/Unlock Your Wealth Radio, or you can also pick up the episodes on unlockyourwealthtoday.com and learn about what this week's key is and what you can do to better prepare yourself financially so you can navigate those failures successfully. Because once we get emotionally engaged into whatever's going on at the moment, it's not going to be an effective time for us to be planning, and you'll learn all about that in this week's key on our Facebook fan page or at our website, unlockyourwealthtoday.com. I'm so excited to bring you our final interview from the Freedom Fest archives from this summer. I have the founder of healthexcellenceplus.com. Would you like to have a plan that covers proactive wellness activities, maybe cover counseling services too for mental health? Oh yeah, and those bumps, bruises, and occasional colds. Wow, that sounds like pie in the sky, doesn't it? Well, actually, there's a place out there that offers just that. And we have Jeff Kanter joining us from healthexcellenceplus.com to give us what that really means to us in coverage. What is independent choice healthcare, and how can we make the most of it? That's coming up right now. Join us for this Freedom Fest interview, won't you?
Welcome back to Unlock Your Wealth Today, and I am so glad that I'll be sitting here with my guest, Jeff Kanter. Jeff, let's talk about healthcare.
Oh, everyone's favorite topic.
Yes, now that we're required to have health care, is Obamacare going to be repealed? Is part of it going to be repealed? Why does it still cost so much? Why does it cost more? Why do I have to have it if I don't want it?
Sure.
All these great questions.
Well, we're hoping that it doesn't get repealed or fixed, because that's giving us the opportunity to fix it in lieu of the government trying to take a shot at it.
Well,
And that's important. But really what we're trying to do is transform healthcare to go back to what used to work, which was the bottom up. The doctor would come to your house, and there's the medical world. Now it's from the top down. The insurance companies, the government, everybody else is dictating how you should live your health life. We say you deserve to be in charge.
Absolutely. I mean, and I'm proactive about my health, and I remember. Now, I'm on a cost-sharing type of plan, but I remember when I was on regular insurance, and I was like, why are my rates going up? I'm super preferred on my life insurance. How do I get super preferred life insurance premiums, but then my healthcare costs are going up? And the guy just started making up all these excuses, and it's not like I didn't know how insurance went. I'm like, but why do I have to pay for other people's carelessness? And that was the thing that got me so angry. And I saved like 75% switching.
You know, the differences too is how are you able to control costs. See, in what you're doing right now, you can kind of pick and choose and make better use of your efforts and keep the costs down for the group at large. But within health insurance, who cares? All you worry about, what's my deductible or what's that copay? And if I'm going to have an option between doing a $40,000 procedure or $80,000, but you're only going to have to pay $500 or whatever, you're going to probably go for the more expensive one because you're going to think that's better. But you're driving costs. So when the consumer's not involved, they just take the easy road or whatever they're told to do.
Well, yeah, you're the sheep.
Right, right. And you don't know enough because everything's so opaque. I don't know what anything costs, so why would I question it? I just go do. And that's been the challenge. So that's why I say we're hoping that they don't fix it, because if anything, they're going to think that they're smarter than you and me. See, they think the Democrats are a bunch of idiots. So the Republicans think, well, we're smarter than the Democrats. We'll come up with a program. But they think they're smarter than you and me, therefore.
Still.
And so we're like, no, forget it. Go away. Just leave us alone. The market will fix it. It worked great before you showed up. There weren't people in the street.
We forget
sick.
that.
Yeah,
we forget how
it
well
worked
it
great.
works.
But they wanted to be involved. They wanted to have control. They wanted to make money off of all of us. And we're saying, get out of here.
So you guys have actually come up with an even better way, because, I mentioned that, oh, well, I have a cost sharing, but you're like, well, that's a part of what we do. And so kind of explain how you are taking kind of this independent choice to the next level for consumers.
Sure. Well, the reality is that there's a lot that goes into your health. Now, a lot of people think, well, I need health insurance because what if I have a heart attack? And obviously that's a big concern because that's a
catastrophic care.
Yeah.
That was my driver.
Something big time, and it's a lot of money. But the reality is I don't want to have a heart attack, which means I got to monitor my lifestyle. I have to be in charge of what I'm doing.
Right.
And health insurance doesn't do that for you. That's just waiting for disaster, and then it's going to come off the shelf. So our whole program is actually a healthy care strategy where you're going to have ability to do assessments, being a wellness program, work with health coaches, and all the kind of things that will help ward off the need for that catastrophic event. But if it occurs, you're ready for that too. Now, we also want to be able to let you do medical tourism, actually to get medications from around the world, because a lot of people understand big pharma.
Right.
And there's a lot of medications in the news where they buy the company and they jack like those EpiPens and all that stuff you saw about. But the reality is that all of those medications are largely available in other countries at far lower prices. So that's a part of what we do. When a customer needs a medication, they'll call up and say, hey, I'm supposed to take this med. I checked it out. It's wicked expensive. We're going to be able to globally shop that med or around the country and get them the best price possible. So we let you become that free market shopper without having to become an expert or to do anything but to call a phone number.
That's pretty exciting, because, and I just think about the whole FDA stuff and how there's all those challenges about getting drugs that help people everywhere else in the world, but here, because their red tape is 10 years long.
Well, exactly. We went from 4 years to approved drugs to 14. And we've also made it so costly that unless you can create a drug that a person has to take for their entire life, it's not worth pursuing. So there's no 90-day medications or anything. There's no money in those anymore.
Well, do you think that the investment in the research costs, they take that position because they know the bureaucracy is going to kill them to start making the money, or do you think it's just the nature of the industry?
Well, it's not the industry itself. It's strictly because of the FDA.
Okay, because I don't begrudge somebody to get paid when they bring value to the marketplace.
They deserve it. But what they've done is they've driven the cost up and the timeline so far out that sometimes my ability to profit from that medication expires during the time frame. I'm still trying to get it approved. So if I get it approved, my competitors can knock me off on the first day as a generic, because I've outlived my time window. So there's so many inherent problems in that, and it just causes them to only look for the most profitable drugs, and there's no money in the lesser drugs, like a supplement. They'd have to put that through the same 14-year rigors to get a vitamin C medication out. Well, who's going to want her to do that? So yeah, they've really mucked it up pretty good.
So in addition to this, which is really exciting, tell me a little bit more about some of the wellness things that you offer, because that's what really got me excited when I met you yesterday. And I'm like, oh, people need to know this, because
that's the exciting part.
Because I think about all that I invest, in supplements and alternative health treatments that are valid. I mean, one of my favorite things are getting IV drips with the vitamins and stuff that they just take your game to the next level. And I pay cash for that stuff. And it's like it's a good thing that I know how to make money and build wealth, because I need that to maintain my health.
Well, realistically, you need that in America in general, but the truth of it is a lot of that stuff is available, and we'll actually pay for a lot of that kind of stuff like you're describing that is not going to be paid by others. But the big part about this wellness thing is, the number one way people know they have a heart condition, as an example, is when they have their first heart attack.
Right.
That's a terrible situation. You're supposed to know about that a long time ago. So when they have that first heart attack, what do? Change their diet, whatever they're supposed to do. They should have done that years ago. So when we have got a new member on board, we're going to be able to get them into an assessment. We're going to be able to make a determination that in 4 years, you're going to become diabetic, or in 5 years, this is going to happen. And here's how we can rectify that right now, today.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
pleasure.
If folks want to get a hold of you, where can they find out more, Jeff?
Oh, real simple. You just go to our website, healthexcellenceplus.com, and plus is spelled out, so it's healthexcellenceplus.com.
And thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. So if you want more information about what Jeff has, you'll just find it on our show page at unlockyourwealthtoday.com. For the maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthToday.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthToday.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2018 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness Series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealthtoday.com.